Well, transportation crews may be out plowing the roads, but for many people, it's up to them to clear those driveways in their cars.
Yeah, unfortunately, and sometimes it's a lot of work for folks. Shoveling, it's a strenuous activity. Like all forms of physical activity, it can cause harm if it's not done correctly. Each year, get this, around 11,000 people in the United States are treated in emergency rooms for injuries related to snow shoveling. It sounds simple, but it's important to do it right. Joining us is chiropractic physician Dr. Mike Evangel. Thank you, Dr. Mike, this morning. So when we talk about injuries that could be sustained from shoveling snow, what type of injuries are we talking about exactly?
Well, the worst injury you can get is a heart attack. And so we have to make sure that before somebody goes out to shovel snow, to make sure that they are physically capable of vigorous physical activity. And you should check with a primary care physician if they're not sure, if they're not used to activity, then I say pay somebody to do it. But the injuries that you get in the emergency room mostly are musculoskeletal injuries, low back problems. For over 35 years, I've treated people for injuries that they sustain from shoveling snow every winter. And an important thing to do is to make sure that you're ready before you go out. And by ready, I mean make sure that you have proper clothing, good boots, and have your head covered if it's cold. You make sure that you warm up a little bit before you go out, because you want to get your core body temperature up so that you're warm but not sweating. You want to make sure you're hydrated, and also that you have a little bit of food in your stomach, not too much food, but enough so that you're not going to be fainting from lack of blood sugar. And also to make sure that you don't have too much caffeine in your system, because that can constrict your blood vessels, and that could lead to a heart attack. Constricted blood vessels. And alcohol too should be avoided, even though people sometimes think they're warmer with alcohol. Actually can cause problems because you can't carry oxygen. But I teach my patients proper biomechanics, how to shovel properly, because you should try to keep the base of your skull over the base of your spine when you're shoveling, and don't throw the snow over your shoulder, but to step and throw it straight. And a lot of times people overdo it, to go too fast. Pace yourself and make sure that you're not, going at a pace that you're going to get exhausted. It's like a cardiovascular workout. You want to go for a jog, you don't want to go for a sprint.
Aside from the weight of the snow, is there any other things that folks should look out for, any other red flags associated with shoveling snow that could impact your health? Like maybe cold temperatures?
Definitely. If it's, as far as getting overheated, if they start sweating a lot too, and getting dehydrated, that's why you should take breaks. It's like slow and steady wins the race. You don't want to overdo it. And especially if it's a big storm. And, different types of snow shovels are good too. The ergonomic ones with the bend in it, or the push shovels are good for a small amount of snow. But you should hold the shovel about shoulder width apart as far as your hands go. And if you are very tall or very short, you might need a special shovel, because the average person is what the average snow shovel is made for.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to ask real quick, Dr. Mike, because I know your practice is based in New Jersey there. Do you see an uptick in some of your work in the winter months from people who have that injury when they should have just asked the neighborhood kid down the road to shovel it for them?
Definitely. But besides that, slipping and falling on ice is a huge problem too with snow. There's ice underneath, and losing your footing, and black ice especially when you can't see it that well. But I've had a number of people, the snow giveth and taketh away, I say, for chiropractors, because people cancel when there's a snowstorm, but then unfortunately you get more people later on that either slip and fall or hurt themselves shoveling and overdo it. But the main thing is to make sure that you're physically capable of doing it and pace yourself. Those are the keys.
Well, all good tips. Thank you so much for sharing them with us and keeping the community safe. And thank you for joining us this morning on America's Weather Sunrise, chiropractor physician Dr. Mike Evangelo. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Mike, good tips there. And for people who live in the South, may not be used to shoveling some stuff, listen up. Take those warnings, heed the advice, I should say. Here's a look at Dallas, Texas.